Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. All right, so we are looking at our next step in factoring. So we've done our greatest common factor, and then we're going to move into what is called a difference of squares. Now, this particular one is something that you need to come up with some kind of strategy to ingrain this in your brain because you will be using the factoring of a difference of squares in Math 1, Math 2, Math 3, and even on to pre-calc and calculus, okay? Because it's just one thing that is really common. Okay, so we have a rule that goes along with it. So if you're looking at my example and you're thinking, okay, where is she going with this? Because there's nothing in common. And you're right, I don't have a greatest common factor. All right, so if you want to factor a difference of squares, you have to know the rule. Well, it's nice that what I'm calling it is exactly what it is. So if we think about in math, difference means subtraction. Okay, so it's a subtraction problem. So you can look over at my problem here. It's a subtraction problem. And squares, you want to be thinking about perfect squares. So like 100 is a perfect square because the square root is 10. 36 is a perfect square because the square root is 6. And even exponents because you can divide by 2. Okay, so those things are the kind of things that should pop in your head when you ask yourself, do I have a difference of squares? Is this kind of problem a difference of squares and what can I do with it? All right, so what is the rule? All right, so the rule says if I have a difference of squares, so I have a squared minus b squared. So I have a subtraction sign. So I've got the subtraction part, and then I have squares. I have a squared and I have b squared. Those are even exponents. Those will factor as a minus b times a plus b, or the reverse. You could do a plus b, a minus b. So it's either or. All right. And so this is where you got to be really good at dividing by 2 and taking the square root of a number without having to use your calculator. So if I look at my example here in Delta Math, x squared minus 49. Okay, I have even exponents and I can take the square root of 49. The square root of 49 is 7. So all I do here is I have my two parentheses, x divided by 2 is 1. So I have an x here and an x here, plus and a minus, and then the square root of 49 is 7. So that is my answer, x plus 7 times x minus 7. Okay, all right, we'll talk about checking our work in just a minute. Okay, so parentheses, x plus 7, x minus 7. Okay, and it can be either or. Submit my answer. Yes, there we go. All right, new problem. Okay, 1 minus x squared. Okay, so we can write the problem backwards. That's fine. Okay, since the problem was written this way, I did x plus 7, x minus 7. If the problem is written 1 minus x squared, here's the great thing. There's still a plus and a minus. We're going to put the x here, and then the square root of 1 is 1. So there's my answer. Okay, so now if you're looking at this and you're thinking, oh, okay, great, Ms. Barfield, I'm cool with that. I know what to do, but how do I know I've done the problem right? Okay, so if you remember a couple of days ago, we started off this lesson with multiplying polynomials. So if I take my box and I put x plus 7 here and x minus 7 here, I'm now going to multiply. So now I'm going to do x times x, which is x squared, x times negative 7, which is negative 7x, 7 times x, which is 7x, 7 times negative 7, which is negative 49. So I have x squared. My like terms are negative 7 plus 7. Well, that equals 0, so I don't write anything down, minus 49. So you can see I got the same answer. Okay. So what we are doing is we are taking this process of multiplying, and we are reversing it. That's what factoring is, okay? And difference of squares is a type of factoring. All right, let's do one more and then we're going to stop our video. All right, so 64 minus 121 x squared. All right, and then I'm going to give you a similar problem that won't be on Delta Math. So 25 x squared minus 36. Okay, so that way you can see what happens when there's numbers and when x is at the back and when x is at the front. Okay, you just need to take the square root of 64, which is 8, and the square root of 121, which is 11. And you say 8 plus 11x, 8 minus 11x. And that's your final answer. All right, if you have this one where x is up here, you take the square root of 25, which is 5, square root of 36, which is 6, and you just say 5x minus 6, 5x plus 6, right? And remember, so notice here I wrote the plus first, I wrote the minus here first. It doesn't matter. As long as you have one minus and one plus, you're good to go, okay? All right, so that is how you're going to factor a difference of perfect squares, your level 1 assignment in Delta Math. Good luck.